In a world of noise, genuine listening still matters, especially for those who served. At GenVets, we believe serving those who served begins with genuine listening. Welcome back to Vetted with Jen M. Wagman. Today, I'm thrilled to bring you a deeply personal and mission-driven conversation with someone who epitomizes service in a different kind of uniform, Chef Larry Zilliox. You may know Larry as the host of Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, a show that breathes life into the stories and challenges experienced by those who've served and by the communities that love them. That podcast is produced under Willing Warriors Warrior Retreat at Bull Run, and it's become a platform not just for veterans issues, but for healing, restoration, and community. I had the honor of being a guest on Welcome Home in the spring of 2025, and I walked away deeply moved by the way Larry weaves culinary, advocacy, and personal narrative into one. Larry's roots span service, culinary excellence, and veteran care. He served in the United States Air Force from 1977 to 1983. Over the years, he's turned his passion for food into a mission. He is now Director of Culinary Services at Willing Warriors, overseeing meals and hospitality for veterans and families at the retreat. He also leads the Visiting Chefs program, recruiting chefs to create gourmet, restorative meals as part of a holistic healing environment. Larry has been with Willing Warriors in that culinary leadership role for over a decade. He has been acknowledged publicly for his service. In September 2024, he was recognized as a Hero of the Month by Americans Helping Americans, in part because of what he brings to the wounded warriors and families through his leadership in the kitchen and community. Willing Warriors, based in Haymarket, Virginia, operates the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run, offering respite, care, and a restorative environment for wounded, ill, or injured veterans and their families. One of the retreat's signature initiatives is the Visiting Chef program. Chefs from around the U.S., volunteers, restaurant professionals, even White House chefs, come together to provide special dinners in homes on campus, like the Lang House or Penn Fed House. The goal is not just a meal, but an experience. Farm-to-table cuisine, education about healthy cooking, and giving families a moment of normalcy and joy together. Larry's leadership in that program ensures continuity, vision, and high standards. The food becomes part of the healing, a way to nurture bodies, spirits, and connection. In this interview, Larry walks us through the origin story of the retreat's culinary mission, what executive chef and culinary director means day to day in a veteran hospitality environment, how the community has shaped and sustained the retreat from volunteers to donors to veteran partners, and the challenges of staying mission-aligned while scaling operations, as well as stories of guests, how a meal can shift mood, reset hope, and reconnect families. Whether you're in the veteran community, work for service organizations like GenVets, or just believe in better support for those who served, this episode illuminates the intersection of food, service, and community in a way that few do. So please join me in welcoming Larry Zilliox, chef, host, advocate, storyteller, as he takes us behind the scenes of life at the retreat and what it truly means to serve with purpose. Here's our conversation. Thank you for being on the show today. I am very excited to see you in person. For my audience members, this is a quid pro quo podcast interview because I was lucky enough to be on Larry's podcast a few weeks ago, and it was a pleasure to be on his, and he agreed to be on mine, mostly because I'm actually very, very interested to hear about your participation in and what is going on with what you do. And I'd really love for you to start talking about it so that I can stop fumbling over my words.
I'm happy to. So I'm Larry Zilliox, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And the retreat is a 37 acres, $6.5 million property located in Haymarket, Virginia, very close to the Manassas battlefield and Bull Run Mountain. We host wounded warriors and their families from Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, primarily to come out for 5 nights, 6 days of free rest and relaxation, respite. Try to get them out of that hospital rehab environment to just enjoy some downtime with their family, friends, whoever they want to invite. We have 3 homes on the property. 2 we use for families to come out. And then the third home, which is our Grand Lodge, is a 6-bedroom home that is used for groups that come out for training, for counseling. They could be active duty soldiers, they could be veterans. We have a close relationship with the soldier recovery units at both Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir. The chaplain from Fort Belvoir, Captain Wooten, brings out soldiers 1 week at a time for counseling, for moral injury counseling. But our primary mission is to provide that rest and respite for active duty soldiers who are currently in the military hospital system. Our founders are John and Shirley Dominic. In 2006, their pastor challenged the congregation to go out into the community, find a way to give back, but they couldn't write a check. They had to actually do something. And so Shirley's a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, and she had heard about a holiday party that was going to take place at Walter Reed. This was in December of 2006. So they got some pizzas together, some gifts, went down with their 3 small girls, and the party started at 4:30. They got there at 4. By 4:30, they were cleaned out completely, and they had to stand there and talk to warriors and say, "I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you." But the conversation was moving, and they decided, we've got to go back. We've got to get more folks from our church, and that turned into a barbecue in the summer and then a holiday party in the winter. And we still honor that tradition today. We take our chefs and we usually do a barbecue lunch in the summer. We call it barbecue, but we don't give them barbecue because everybody can barbecue.
Okay.
We do taco lunch, we do meatballs, we do lasagna, we do stuff they don't normally get. And we usually feed about 100, 150 at the USO at both Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir in the summer. And then we do a holiday party in December at both locations. And the same thing, we do a big lunch. But that's a way for us to get in front of the soldiers and the wounded warriors, to tell them about the retreat and to say, hey, come out to the retreat, stay for 5 nights, inviting family, inviting friends. Each of our houses, the main house that we started with, after a few years, John and Shirley met a veteran who said, what you are doing, going to the hospital like that and giving out gifts and pizzas and things like that, that's great. But what these warriors really needed is a place to get away. And so Shirley took that as a mission. She got online and found a house. That veteran had described a house on a hill, 77 acres with a horse. And Shirley got real close. She found this house on a hill. It's 37 acres. And there was a horse here named Patent that we sold to a volunteer for $1.
Wow.
So in 2012, they purchased the property for $875,000, incorporated us as a nonprofit, loaned the organization $200,000 to get going and pay the monthly mortgage, and then asked the community to step up and help us remodel this house. The main house here, the Lang House, is 11,000 square feet. In its current configuration, it has 31 rooms, 11
Wow.
bathrooms, 178 wall outlets. It was completely gutted. And the community stepped up and put about $1.4 million into remodeling it, furnishing it, and just getting it ready for first warriors that came. We had a ribbon cutting July 4th, 2015. And we got our first families from Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir starting on Veterans Day of 2015. So since then, in 2019, we opened a second home that was built by a generous grant from PenFed Foundation, and that doubled our capacity. And since then, we've hosted over 3,000 warriors, family members, veterans. It's just been a joy for us to be able to give back to the community and give back on behalf of the community, really. There's only one full-time employee here. That's our executive director.
Okay.
There's 5 of us who are part-time employees who work full-time, but technically work
right.
part-time. And everything else is done by volunteers. And we have an amazing community here that supports the retreat. We have companies that come alongside us and donate services. All of our laundry is done by the Hampton Inn in Manassas. They wash it, dry it, fold it, give it back to us 2 days later, no charge. The trash is picked up, no charge. We have volunteers that do all the maintenance and volunteers that do all the grounds work and volunteers that come in after the family checks out on Wednesday. We have a team of volunteers, some wonderful ladies who come in and stage the retreat for the next family that's coming in. So our families, a warrior can't stay by themselves. So they have to have at least another adult who's not under medical treatment to stay with them. But we encourage them to fill the house up. Mom, dad, aunt and uncle, grandma, grandpa, battle buddies. If you don't have any family that can join you, invite another family from your treatment, somebody you've met in treatment. So we want the house filled up. And we
31 rooms. You're talking about 31 rooms.
Well, we take about 2,000 square feet of office and conference in one wing, upstairs and downstairs.
Okay.
But each house is 5 bedrooms, can hold up to 10 adults.
Okay.
And we encourage them to fill it up. So our op tempo is we run 3 guest days in a row and then take a week off. And during that week off, we have from March through November what we call Beautification Day. And the community signs up to come out and help us spread dirt, weed, mulch, paint, do all sorts of things. So on Beautification Days, we typically have between 100 and 125 community volunteers on the property to help us maintain it and keep it going. So that's basically our op tempo, 3 guest days in a row and then a week off. So we do roughly 36 guest days a year in each house. In 2023, early 2023, PenFed approached us again and said they wanted to help us with a 3rd house. We were looking for a way to do more functions and to do more training and that sort of thing, and not have a 3rd house for families. We really can't support a 3rd house for families. We don't have enough volunteers ever since COVID.
Okay.
We don't have enough volunteers.
That was my next question is, do you have a hard time getting the volunteers from the Haymarket area? Because I have 2 brothers who live right there in Haymarket and their families. In fact, some of the gentlemen that you just met, they're helping with this podcast. They're right from Haymarket. I can start signing these kids up here for you if that's what you need. And my brothers, they're workers.
Yeah, that's great. We can never have enough volunteers because everything, surprisingly, takes man hours. Everything.
Okay. Right.
So we get schools that donate cards to us to give to the warriors.
Right.
We take them to the hospitals.
That's
we hand
wonderful.
them out over there. We have them in all the rooms. But it takes about 7 man hours a year to go through the cards. Somebody has to look at each card to make sure that what they wrote is appropriate. We get some from older kids that tend to have cut off heads, tanks exploding,
I see.
crazy stuff. So those have to be weeded out. So you just never know. Everything takes time
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
work.
Didn't even think, you don't think of those kind of things.
Yeah. And the staging, we have volunteer guest day coordinators. So
What does
when the
staging mean when you say staging?
so the process for a warrior to come with their family to the retreat is that we may meet them at one of the hospitals or one of the events, or they may come out for something, and they express an interest in coming with their family to the retreat. Then they're going to be put in touch with our reservations team, which is going to tell them about the stay, work them through the process, and then they have to go back to the command and get okayed to come. Not all of them are okay to come,
Okay.
uh, and so they have to not have any operations coming up. We work very closely with the command. Once they get okayed to come, reservations finds a slot for them, and then they're assigned a guest stay coordinator who works directly with the family to create their itinerary and to put together a guest stay that's going to be impactful for them. So we have roughly 20 to 25 on-site and off-site activities that they can do. So they can go for a shooting experience with an original SEAL Team 6 member. They can go to an antique automobile restoration facility out in White Post, Virginia. They can go swimming, horseback riding. Uh, there's all sorts of things for them to do. And the guest
Amazing.
stay coordinators,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
coordinate all of that. They set it up with the vendor, they put it on their itinerary. Our founder, Shirley, every Saturday meets with both families and presents them with a handmade quilt by one of the 5 quilting groups that work with us.
That's beautiful. Wow.
They
Okay.
all, yeah, they also all get a photo shoot here with a photographer because we want them to have great memories of their time here because we know they're going right back into that rat race of 3 to 4 or 5 appointments a day.
Right. Okay.
School and the kids in the car or the doctor's office.
What a thoughtful thing to the photo shoot is particularly thoughtful because that the memory will come back. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I
we
love
do.
Shirley.
Yeah. So one of the things too is that our whole goal here is to surreptitiously convince the warrior that their family is not better off without them.
Absolutely.
Very often they're in a very dark place and they've been in treatment for a year or more. And we try to get that family that's in the middle of treatment, more than a year there at the hospital and in treatment, and then a year or more to go. So we try to find them in the middle. We
Mhm.
work with the care coordinators. They steer guests to us so we can give them a break. But very often they see the toll that their injuries take on the family, and they get crazy ideas that if they just took their own life, then their family could go back home and be normal again. And everything we do here is geared towards convincing them that that's just not the case. So every activity is family oriented. The photos shoot is family oriented. On the weekends, we have 2 houses. On Saturday and Sunday, I bring in a visiting chef to make dinner for them. And I have roughly 134 chefs on my mailing list. So we have chefs. We have the finest military chefs in the world are here in the Washington, D.C. area.
Yes.
We have chefs. There's 25 or so Navy chefs at the White House in the Presidential Food Service. They come out here. Chefs from the Commandant of the Marine Corps come in. Chefs from the Commandant of the Coast Guard. The best chef in the country is a Coast Guard chef named Johnny Toman. He's the 2023 Military Chef of the Year. He's also the 2024 American Culinary Federation Chef of the Year. And he comes out and does dinner for our families. And it's a great experience for the families because, number one, some of our restaurant chefs that come, these families couldn't afford to go to dinner at those restaurants. They can't afford $350 for dinner for 2 at 3 Blacksmiths or some of the other restaurants that these chefs come from. So we give them that 5-star culinary experience right here at the retreat.
And I
Yeah,
bet it's even better at the retreat. I can see her looking around. I want to come.
Everybody wants to go.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing is too is that the majority of our warriors have post-traumatic stress.
Hmm.
And very often our spouses will say, hey, this has been wonderful because we don't go out to eat.
Right.
It's too much commotion. It's too much noise. It's not an enjoyable experience for a warrior who has post-traumatic stress like it is for average citizens. So bringing that culinary experience to them here is really one of the highlights of their stay. We try to get them involved in the kitchen with the chefs, teaching them basic techniques. You know, it's just good food, simple techniques,
Hmm.
make really good dinners.
Yes.
And we have an amazing garden on the property that's maintained by a master gardener and her assistants. They can have whatever they want from the garden. It's just a great dinner and a great time for the family.
Do
But
you
that's
have other people that contribute to the activities? You mentioned quite a few that they can choose from. Are other community members in the area able to just sign up and say, "Hey, we'd love to offer this to," I know there's um, whitewater rafting down the Shenandoah. Is that something that if I owned that kind of company, I could call up after hearing this podcast and say, I would love to participate in this. May I help? Or do you
so
need to be trained in a certain way, like by VA or something like that?
they don't really need to be trained, but we need to be careful where we send the warriors.
Okay.
Since the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
our mantra has been if we give them back broken, they
Mm-hmm.
won't send us anymore.
Okay.
And so there are certain activities that have to be cleared by the command
Okay.
because they're off of site.
Okay.
But once we do that, then we're open for them to participate for sure. Now, we want to make sure that it's not a challenge for the family to get there. So we
Mm-hmm.
try to find activities nearby or close by. Probably a 35, 40-minute ride would be the longest.
Okay.
But because, very often there's kids involved, and you know what it's
Yeah.
like trying to get kids together, get them out of the house, get them fed before you go, the whole 9 yards. But yes, we have massage therapists that come right to the
Oh,
retreat.
that's right. Okay.
Each of the houses have a massage therapy room. We have rock painting. We have just tons of different activities for the families to do. We're always looking for any kind of activity. There's an amazing place in Haymarket that has a float tank, and our warriors just love that.
Is
And
that with the zero gravity?
yeah, you're just in there, and you're just there's
I
no
think you
on
should
you.
let me come try it out and let you know if it's good
Well,
because
we
I'm
already know
in.
it's good.
No, 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 you don't. Not really for sure. And I will also do it on a volunteer pro bono basis because that's how much I want to give to you.
Yeah, yeah, we have just great community support and activities. And what was really wonderful was when we had the one house, and in 2019, in March of 2019, we brought the second house online, and we went to all of our vendors and said, "Look, we're doubling our capacity. We understand if that's too much for you." And none of them said no. They all said, "No, bring it on." And so we don't sign them up for an activity on Friday when they come because
Mhm.
they're almost always late. Um, we also want them to settle in. On Saturdays is when Shirley comes, and they normally have their photo shoot. Saturday and Sunday night, they have their um, visiting chef night. And then we'll usually use Monday and Tuesday for activities that are offsite, whether it's horseback riding, there's an animal sanctuary, horse therapy, shooting experience with Frank Phillips. It just depends on what they want to do. The guest day coordinator arranges all of that
Okay.
and walks them through everything and helps them with everything. We check them in on Friday. They're here. This property, this is their home, and we encourage them to fill it up. There's a fire pit behind every house. There's three other fire pits on the property as well, down in the woods or off towards the corner of the property. There's a big grill behind every house. We have big green egg smokers. Just whatever they need, we have for them, or we'll find it and get it for them. We want their stay to be impactful, and it is. It generally is. We have amazing times with the families, and it's just it's a joy for us to be able to provide this on behalf of the community. It's not lost on us that we get to give this to the Warriors, and it's not only the community, but it's our volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers that work very hard and never see the Warrior or their family. They're out cutting the grass. They're out shoveling snow. We've had a brutal weather here, and we had the grounds team. They came up on their own and were out there in 17-degree weather, shoveling the driveway and snow.
I just had this conversation with someone. It's very important, I think, today to emphasize and to sort of rekindle the idea of service and service in this country, not just military service, but with our young people and with this generation, that we need to be in service to each other and to others, not just inward thinking all of the time, because we are having an issue with the volunteer military, and if we want to keep an all volunteer military, we need to be really fostering that idea and setting the example for our kids of what it is to be service providers. I mean, to our brothers and sisters, and that is what you're doing and what people are doing when they volunteer at the Warrior Retreat. And so I think that this is a great idea. How can people do that for you?
So
if they want to.
They can, if they call the office, it's 571-248-0008. They'll talk to Faith, who's our volunteer coordinator. You can go to the webpage, willingwarriors.org, and you can see the events and sign up for Beautification Day. Beautification Day is really special here. We have a great time. We have organizations that come out, like the one that comes to mind is Young Men's Service League of South Loudoun. So there's a number of these Young Men's Service Leagues around the area. And this is a group of teenage boys that come out and do service projects with their mothers.
Wow.
And they and the moms work just as hard, if not harder, than the boys.
No, I don't believe that.
Yes. And we can get, they will do just so much for us. We'll have families come out and they'll have little kids. And that is huge for us because we need the sticks picked up. So the grounds team isn't constantly running over them. And when they get tired of picking up sticks, we need people to test the playground equipment. And so we have plenty of young volunteers for that as well. So everybody, we can find something for every kind of volunteer. Everybody that we need wants to come out and help, they can come out and help.
I love it. And what about financial donations? I'm sure those are always welcome. How do you do that?
Well, we get donations from corporations. Some of our biggest supporters are Micron, Amazon Web Services. Home Depot is a huge supporter of veterans in this country.
Yes.
Since their incorporation, at the beginning of 2024, they had spent about $450 million on veteran organizations, veteran homes, just putting ramps on homes for veterans. And by the end of 2025, they want to reach $500 million. So they come out here, their people come out as part of the Home Depot Foundation, do work. They donated all the flooring for our Grand Lodge, which was $28,000. They donated with Tough Shed, a brand new shed for our mowers, a $25,000 shed. They just, whatever we need, we approach them and they're very open to helping us with it. And they really
makes me want to shop at Home Depot.
Yeah, they're really something. And that's the community. We have a lot of businesses and a lot of individuals who are large donors. The third house that we built on the property is the Grand Lodge, and this is a $1.3 million 6-bedroom home. And we our founders had always envisioned 3 homes. And after COVID, we were like, we just can't support another home. There's not enough warriors. Well, God bless, we've deconflicted around the world with the end of Afghanistan and Iraq. And so there's not as many wounded warriors in the soldier recovery units around the country as there was when we started in 2015. So we can't support a third home for warriors, but we did want a way to do training and programs that help warriors and the community. And so we wanted to build a community center, but then we ran into all sorts of problems with zoning and this and that. And the architect simply said, just build another house and put as much meeting space on it as you want. And that's what we did. And nobody could really say anything about it. So we have a 6-bedroom home with 2,000 square foot of activity room with all the training tables and everything. We have our events in there. And it has $30,000 worth of audiovisual equipment, from the projectors, it's all wireless, the microphones, the cameras. We do use it for our events. So for the last 9 years, we have done what we call home away from home dinner. So the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we cook a complete Thanksgiving dinner for warriors and their families from Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir.
That's wonderful.
With a particular focus on single soldiers that are in the SRU there, that are there for treatment, that might not be going home or don't have any place to go over Thanksgiving. We start shopping on Friday. We make all of our stocks, all of our seasonings, all of our ingredients on Friday night. I have chefs that used to be in the Haymarket area that moved, that fly back in.
Wow.
One comes in from Florida, another from Delaware, another from New York City. And they come in and we cook all day Saturday. And then Sunday we have an amazing dinner. And this year, because we have the Grand Lodge, we doubled our capacity from 48 that we normally had to 80 this year. And I had 22 chefs working all day Saturday to make the meal. We smoke turkeys, crock pot them, have 10 sides, and everything is made from scratch. We went Friday to the grocery store and had a bill of $2,700.
Well, I'm really, really thrilled that you came on and talked about this. I would love to come out and see it next time I'm in town for to see my brothers. We'll have to talk about that. And it's been a pleasure to see you and talk to you about this. I think it's amazing, everything that you're doing, from your own podcast to this. I'm so impressed by you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. We really appreciate it. We just, I can't thank you enough for when you came on my podcast, and that episode will be coming up soon.
Wonderful.
But, getting the word out, as you know, it's the key to the success for our kind of veteran service organizations, because you can do the greatest work in the world, but if nobody knows you're there, it's too bad, because there's a lot of good services, and what you guys do at Gen Vets is so important, and I just can't thank you enough for having us on.
Well, this is the key to it, as you said, is making sure the word is out there, and that we share the resource, which is you, and taking care of our veterans and transitioning service members' mental wellness. And this is so important. And again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.